Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and the Kansas City Chiefs are 10-1.
Seconds left. Mahomes out of the pocket. Mahomes on the run. Takes a look around. Oh, Mahomes is still going. Slips away for a huge gain.
Thank you so much for joining me as the Chiefs beat the Carolina Panthers in Carolina 30-27 on a last-second field goal, coming on the heels of a beautiful, magnificent Patrick Mahomes run as Patrick Mahomes put this game on his back. He went out through 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, had total yards of over 300, and was an absolute monster. With no help from his offensive line, he had to take 5 sacks. He was constantly buying time. The Superman cape was on number 15 today, and that's something that people are going to gloss over because it was the Carolina Panthers. Well, those people didn't watch this football game, or they just don't understand what they're watching, because the Carolina Panthers played a hell of a football game. The Carolina Panthers came out and played their tails off. It was one of the greater performances I've seen from a 3-7 team, and this is a team coming off back-to-back victories and having 2 weeks to prepare coming off of a bye week, and they knew how to give the Chiefs their best shot. But I'll tell you this, Bryce Young is for real. That is a for real quarterback. He is really coming along, throwing dimes off his back foot with guys in his face. Come on now. Bryce Young played beautiful football. Everyone did, and that was the issue today for the Kansas City Chiefs. They played a really good football team. So I don't want to hear from all these people in these other fan bases going, well, the Chiefs only beat the Panthers by 3 points. Stop letting the records get in your head. This was an incredibly hard-fought football game, and frankly, one of the better performances by the Chiefs of this season, considering they went against a team that played such clean football. In fact, if the Panthers take away a couple of dumb penalties they had in big situations, this game could have gone the other way. So be very grateful that we got 10 wins in Kansas City before Thanksgiving. That's a huge feat for a football team. Do not let the haters get in your head. Don't let the comments on all these different posts get in your head. The Chiefs are a phenomenal football team. They are 10-1, and they still remain the number 1 seed in the AFC. Man, we got a lot to get to today, including one player for the Chiefs who made things very clear today. One thing he made extremely clear. We'll tell you what that is next. But first, a huge win for the Kansas City Chiefs. People will try to discount it. They'll say, oh, it's just the Carolina Panthers. Who cares what they say? Because this is the NFL. Any given Sunday, you're getting every single team's best shot. So when you walk away with a dub, you eat that dub like Jameis Winston, and you enjoy every second of it. And I'm not going to pay any mind to these losers out here saying the Chiefs aren't the good 10-1 team. Oh, they're the worst 10-1 team in history. No, they're not. The Chiefs go up against everyone's best shot, and they went up against a Carolina Panthers team today that was solid, and a quarterback in Bryce Young that I think has an extremely bright future in the NFL. My goodness, what a player. He came out guns blazing, man, throwing off his back foot, hands in his face, throwing dimes. I'm sitting there like, where was the Bryce Young from September? That's what I wanted. I wanted Bryce Young from September. Where did he go? Something happened with Bryce Young. Maybe sitting on the bench for a little bit clicked something in his brain or something, because that was a different football player that we saw today, man. And I feel really good about the Chiefs walking away with a victory out of Carolina. That is going to be a force in the NFC South. If I'm the Bucs, if I'm the Falcons, if I'm the Saints, I'm sweating a little bit looking at Bryce Young and how well he played, not just today, but the whole month of November. And that's a phenomenal player right there. And this game wasn't unpretty. Like, it wasn't an ugly win for the Chiefs. It was just a really good performance by the Panthers. We get so caught up in all the minutiae of the Chiefs, and everybody's so obsessed with us. 31 other fan bases. Why are you so obsessed with us? You get so caught up in the Chiefs that you discount how amazing the Carolina Panthers were today. They came out guns blazing, man. I haven't seen a team come out with that kind of fire against Kansas City in a long time. And that says a lot about the coaching staff in Carolina. It says a lot about the leadership on that team, that they came out and played as well and as crisp as they did against the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a phenomenal football game. And the Chiefs kept coming. Every time it felt like, oh man, another thing's going wrong, or oh man, another great play by Carolina, the Chiefs responded. Patrick Mahomes responded. And every time there was a chance for the Chiefs to make a big play, especially at the end, they came up with it. Maybe not defensively, but the defense has been bailing out the offense all year. It was finally time for the offense to step up and bail out the defense, make a big play at the end, pick up after the defense gives up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Good. You're going to need that in January. You can't have one side of the ball winning every game for you. You have to have the Chiefs offense be able to pick it up when the defense can't. And that's what we saw today. The Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes putting on the Superman cape when it mattered, breaking off the long run and putting an L on the Carolina Panthers and eating another dub for the Kansas City Chiefs. You have to love to see that in this game. I could not be more fired up for the Chiefs right now. I know there's going to be a lot of fans who are upset, and a lot of fans who think I'm being too positive. But I want to tell you something. I'm not. This was a very well-played game by the Carolina Panthers, and I will not sit here and discount how well they played just to appease the people who do nothing but look at records. That's the saddest part about this. We have to respond to people who do nothing but look at records and watch 2 minutes of a game or maybe a 5-minute highlight package and think they know anything. It's the most pathetic thing in fandom, in broadcasting. It happens a lot where people just watch 5 minutes of a highlight tape and they're like, oh, I know everything about this team. No, you don't. This was not some kind of bad game for the Chiefs. It was an incredible game. They came through in the big moments. We have players elevating that we never expected to see elevate this season. And you have to love to see it. And we'll get to those guys specifically because they deserve their flowers and they are going to get them on this show. Never apologize for a victory. Ever, ever, ever. The expectations for the Chiefs are absurd. They're back-to-back champions. They started off the season 9-0. They're the number one team in the AFC. So if they don't win by 100 points, everybody's always going to have something to say. My advice, let them talk. Let them talk. Because at the end of the day, 10 wins before Thanksgiving says, suck it. Kansas City Chiefs, number one seed still. Owning the bye week in the AFC still. You cannot stop the train that the Kansas City Chiefs are on right now, and I don't think anybody's going to come close. You can try. You can keep coming up with these last-minute things. That's fine. The Chiefs are going to keep winning, and that's all you have to do. Just keep winning. I'm so sick and tired of the ridiculous expectations placed on this team where you have to blow out every team. You have to win every game. This is ridiculous. We've never seen a team in the NFL with the kind of pressure on them and the kind of ridiculous expectations that the Kansas City Chiefs have. They go and win a game on a Sunday and people want to talk about how it's not good enough. A W is a W is a W. That's the way you have to see it in the NFL. That's the way NFL coaches tell us to see it. Every NFL coach ever says when you get a victory in the NFL, it's a big deal. It's a big win because every team is talented. This isn't college football. There's no ridiculous system judging how good you are based on point margin. This is the NFL. This is where every team comes to play every single week, and you have professionals on the other side that are making millions of dollars that are really good at their jobs. So this college football level expectation that's been put on the Kansas City Chiefs is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in the history of football. And people on the internet just keep feeding into it. They keep feeding into it and say, no, you have to be better than everybody by 100 points every single week, instead of getting on their knees and thanking the gods above that the Kansas City Chiefs play during a time where they're alive to see the greatness. That's what they should be doing. Instead, they want to discount it because that's what people do. They get sad about greatness. It makes them see their lives and how unfulfilling it is. So they want to attack greatness. We've seen it ever since the beginning of the social media era. People see greatness and they want to attack it. Back in the 90s, we saw greatness with Michael Jordan. People didn't want to attack that. We saw greatness with the Dallas Cowboys, and we really just appreciated how great they were. Do we take a little bit of pleasure in how terrible they are now? Yes, but that's just the way it goes. So this is what it is with greatness, man. People want to watch you fall. They want to put ridiculous expectations on you and then crush you when one little thing goes wrong. Don't listen to them. Blow them all off. Chiefs by 100. Don't worry about it. 10 wins before Thanksgiving says the Kansas City Chiefs are better than your team because they're the 1 seed. We know they're better than your team. The record says it. They're winning. No matter how they're winning, they keep winning. And frankly, today was a really good football game. Like, that's what I keep coming back to. Today was a lot of fun to watch. It was 2 crisp teams with great game plans, came out and they battled. They battled to the very end, and the Chiefs came out on top, 30-27 over the Carolina Panthers. And by the way, one quick message for Chiefs fans in particular. This is just for Chiefs fans. I read the comments on the Chiefs Instagram because I think it gives you a pulse of what the Chiefs fans are thinking. And before this game, when they posted their post, about, hey, we're here in Carolina, just one of those posts that everybody does. Most of the comments were like, hey, could we have a game with no turnovers? And then the Chiefs give you a game with no turnovers. Check that. The Chiefs give you a win with no turnovers. And you're complaining about the win margin. You're complaining about how close it was. Some people can't be happy. And you know what you do with those people? You just ignore the hell out of them. It's the only way to get rid of those people because otherwise they're going to suck the positive energy from you. You can't let that happen. Get those vampires out of your life. Block them all. Kansas City Chiefs 10-1, 0 turnovers on the day, and they win against the Carolina Panthers, maintaining the number 1 seed so everybody in Buffalo can keep crying their tears. Boom! Next up. Having fun, baby. One player is changing everything for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll tell you who that is coming up in just a few minutes. But first, one thing about one Chiefs player became incredibly clear today, and that is that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player to ever breathe air. He came out and played in this game against Carolina where his offensive line couldn't stop anybody. All they could do is get penalties and allow sacks. Yet Patrick Mahomes throws for almost 300 yards, runs for 60 yards, including a beautiful, beautiful scamper down the sidelines to set up the game-winning field goal, and he throws 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He put the team on his back today. There was very little help for Patrick Mahomes, but he didn't care. He's Patrick Mahomes. He's number 15. He puts on the cape and takes the charge, man. That's what he does. And that's what he did today. He put on that cape. He took charge. They got the Chiefs in field goal range to hit the game winner. That's all we could ever ask for from Patrick Mahomes. Put the Chiefs in position to win. And while nobody else was helping him, the offensive line couldn't block anybody. Travis Kelce's dropping passes. It seems like everybody's working against Patrick Mahomes, yet he still comes out, puts on an MVP performance, and puts the Chiefs in position to win at the end of the game. What else could you possibly ask for from a quarterback for the Chiefs? Or for the quarterback for any team in the NFL? He is the best quarterback who's ever played football, and he keeps proving it every single week. 3 touchdowns last week against the Bills, 3 touchdowns this week against the Carolina Panthers. He's putting up the numbers and still putting the Chiefs in position to win. And I'll say this. There have been a lot of times this year where the Chiefs defense has come up big in big moments, and that's part of why we haven't seen Mahomes put on the cape as many times this year as we have in previous years. But today was different. Today was different. The Carolina Panthers marched down. They scored the touchdown. They scored the 2-point conversion. Both came off penalties. They both were penalties. But it's worth noting, both came on penalties. The touchdown and the 2-point conversion both helped on penalties. But after that happened, after the Carolina Panthers evened the game, Patrick Mahomes came out and he won the game. It doesn't always have to be the defense that comes up big in the big moments. There's a reason you have Patrick Mahomes, a first ballot Hall of Famer and the greatest quarterback to ever breathe air. So when the game's on the line and the Carolina Panthers go down and make a great drive resulting in a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it, Patrick Mahomes puts the team on his back door. He put the team on his back door, and he runs down the sideline to get the Chiefs in game-winning field goal position. A beautiful run by Patrick Mahomes, and once again proving why he is the greatest clutch player to ever put on shoulder pads. What we see from Patrick Mahomes every single week, it should be studied. He puts the team on his back when it seems like everything isn't quite going well. Watching that offensive line today, we'll dive deeper into it. Something has to be done, and frankly, I'm not sure what. There's not a great, easy fix for the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line because it's not just Jawan Taylor. It's not just Wanya Morris. Kingsley didn't even see him today. The interior offensive line The guys who never have problems, Tooney, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, they never have issues. Today, all of them had issues. So was that because the Carolina Panthers were just that good? Did the Panthers come out with a great front line strategy and stunt and confuse the offensive line? I don't know, honestly. I didn't break down tape yet. This is right after the game. But the offensive line for the Chiefs helped Patrick Mahomes 0% today. So for him to come out and throw 3 touchdowns, throw for 270 yards, run for 60 yards, and get the Chiefs a dub, eating that dub, that's what I'm talking about, Pat. We have the best quarterback in the world in Kansas City. And I'll listen to all your arguments. You could come debate it all day. I'll debate Josh Allen. We can go down that road. Josh Allen's offensive line protects him. Where's Patrick's? It used to protect him. I don't know what happened. This feels like 2020 all over again, where the Chiefs could go all the way to the Super Bowl only to have the offensive line totally fall apart because it's holding on by a string. And that is concerning. But what we should be excited about is Patrick Mahomes proving once again, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that he is the best quarterback who's ever played in the NFL. Now, a new star is emerging for the Chiefs, a brand new shiny star. And I think you already know who I'm going to talk about, but we'll get to him here in just a minute. First, though, one player is changing everything for the Kansas City Chiefs, and that guy is DeAndre Hopkins.
Shotgun. Mahomes steps up. Mahomes, a bullet to the back of the end zone. Hopkins, touchdown, Chiefs.
D-Hop. In big moments today, who did Patrick Mahomes look for? It's usually Travis Kelce, but today, in big moments, keen on DeAndre Hopkins was Patrick Mahomes' move. I think he loves the way that DeAndre Hopkins works. DeAndre Hopkins comes in. He's a dog, man. We've seen DeAndre in the past. We've seen him on Hard Knocks. I fear God, homie. That's DeAndre Hopkins. And that kind of mentality, that's what you want in your number one wide receiver. And for him to go out and have Patrick Mahomes key on him in the big moments. He didn't have huge numbers to get today. I think he had, five catches, 35 yards, 1 touchdown. Not huge numbers, but those big catches on third down where the Chiefs needed to get to it. They needed to have a completion. Who did Mahomes go to? DeAndre Hopkins. And frankly, I think Hopkins was standing by himself in the end zone for like 5 seconds on that touchdown. It was just Mahomes trying to buy time because his offensive line couldn't stop anybody. So DeAndre Hopkins adds a totally new element to this team, and I think he's going to take the passing game into the stratosphere. This is the guy, as he develops chemistry with Patrick Mahomes, he is going to elevate this team beyond anything anyone could have possibly imagined. That's the beauty of what DeAndre Hopkins brings to Kansas City. That chemistry he's building with Mahomes is only going to get better. We have another month and a half until we see the playoffs, and we have DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes already developing all-star, all-pro chemistry with each other. By January, if they're thinking with the same brain, you're going to see a monstrous DeAndre Hopkins playoff run that's going to put some of the great playoff runs in history to shame. That's the beauty of what this chemistry is building in Kansas City, and the beauty of what Patrick Mahomes can do with a wide receiver if he's willing to put in the time, right? We hear about it all the time. DeAndre Hopkins puts in the work. He puts in the time. He's a dog. You do that with Patrick Mahomes, eventually you're going to be big time. And that's what we're seeing today. In those big moments, who did Patrick trust? He trusted DeAndre Hopkins, also some others, including Noah Gray, who we'll get to in a minute. But DeAndre Hopkins, in big moments today, came up with big third down catches, a big touchdown catch, 5 receptions overall, only 35 yards, but those big moment catches, that's everything for this team. Because on third down, the ability to get that first down, even if it's just 7 yards, it's everything. And that's what DeAndre Hopkins brings to the table that the Chiefs, without DeAndre, don't really have. They've had it in Travis Kelce, but teams are keen on him. And he's also struggling a little bit, right? He had a good game today, but he didn't have a great game. And for Travis, that's the thing. Travis's expectations are a little ridiculous too. He led the team in receptions and was just shy of leading them in yards. So when people say Travis Kelce had a bad game today, he had some bad moments, but he didn't have a bad game. His expectation level is his own fault for being a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end. That's part of it. And we'll get to all of that. But To keep the focus on DeAndre Hopkins, Mahomes' trust in DeAndre Hopkins is what's going to elevate Hopkins, I think, even beyond what we possibly could have imagined come playoff time. The trust that you can have in a wide receiver, that's everything in this game. Everything in football is trust between a quarterback and a wide receiver, getting on the same page. And DeAndre Hopkins is clearly reading the exact same book, the exact same chapter, and the exact same page as Patrick Mahomes. And as that grows, as that chemistry gets even stronger, we're going to see a DeAndre Hopkins by January that's ready to take the NFL by storm and crush opposition. That's what we're looking for. And we know we have that fire in DeAndre Hopkins, and I love to see it. You see that underneath the surface, there's a lot of fire. I fear God, homie. DeAndre Hopkins has that fire, and Mahomes respects that fire, and that's why we're seeing a great chemistry brewing between Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins. And once the Chiefs get into the playoffs, that chemistry is going to explode like a biology lab all over the rest of the AFC. Now, one big area where the Chiefs are struggling, we've discussed it a bit already, but we're going to dive in a little bit more. Actually, we haven't discussed this one. Sorry, I was thinking offensive line. One big place where the Chiefs are struggling. We'll get to it in a minute. But first, a new player is emerging for the Kansas City Chiefs as a superstar. Noah Gray is the most reliable player on the Chiefs right now. If you need a player to be reliable, that you know he's going to get open and you know he's going to make the catch, Noah Gray, number 83, is your man. 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games, 2 against the Bills, 2 against the Panthers, and that guy gets open. Teams kind of forget about him. You have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Xavier Worthy, you have Travis Kelce, you have Juju Smith-Schuster. There's a lot of guys to account for in Kansas City, but a lot of times, number 83, Noah Gray, he gets away from everyone. That first touchdown catch, I don't think there was anybody within 20 yards of Noah Gray. He was all by himself, and he just ran right through into the end zone. Noah Gray is emerging as a monster for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I got people telling me that he's going to be dating Sabrina Carpenter before the end of the month. I'm kidding. He's married. But the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce joke, it's just too good to not make it, guys. It's too good to not make it. Sabrina Carpenter and Noah Gray's box suite would be hysterical. It won't happen, but I saw that joke on the internet. People were texting it to me. It's just too good to not mention. But here's the thing. Noah Gray came out today. He had 4 catches, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, leading in yards for the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course, leading in touchdowns. Touchdown receptions. Noah Gray is why I love sports. Because sports is a meritocracy, man. You have to earn it every single day. Just because you were once a star or you were once a role player, that doesn't mean that you have to remain a role player. If you put in the time, you put in the work, you build a great chemistry with your quarterback like Noah Gray has, you can emerge as a superstar. And we're seeing that from number 83, Noah Gray, every single week. He keeps getting better. And he keeps being more reliable. Patrick Mahomes is building a better chemistry with him and a better rapport. And that's growing Noah Gray's game into the stratosphere. We are seeing a completely different player than we've seen in previous years. And it is time to crown Noah Gray as a legitimate star in the NFL, because you cannot discount what Noah Gray is accomplishing right now. You cannot ignore how great Noah Gray has been playing. He is a beautiful tight end in the NFL. And I'm telling you, it's only going to get better. That taste of success Noah Gray's been having, clearly it's made him crave more success because he just keeps getting better. He had 2 touchdowns last week, but he had better numbers this week.
Texas. 3rd and 4. Kansas City looking to convert. Mahomes wide open. Catch made. Noah Gray walks it in for the touchdown. Best stretch of Gray's career.
He only had 4 catches against the Bills. He had 6 this week. Got to the end zone twice. The more we see Patrick Mahomes key on Noah Gray, the better things are for Noah Gray. And that's going to open up the rest of the offense. Teams are going to start to learn about Noah. They're going to get tape on him. They're going to see how well Patrick Mahomes is starting to trust him. And we're going to see teams start to key on Noah Gray. Well, that's good for everybody else. Patrick Mahomes is now going to have a chance to throw to Juju Smith-Schuster, to Xavier Worthy, to Travis Kelce. Take a little pressure off of these guys. DeAndre Hopkins. Take a little pressure off of them by making the legitimate star, Noah Gray, get keyed on. Because teams will do that. As teams learn about Noah Gray, as he becomes a more talked about player, teams are going to key on Noah Gray. They're going to come after him. And that's okay, because it'll open up things for other guys. But as long as they're not going to key on Noah Gray, as long as they're continuing to key on DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce, keep popping that ball over to number 83, because he is a beast, and he's proving it every single week. I love seeing what Noah Gray brings to the table, man. That guy is a workhorse. He is skilled. He's athletic. And frankly, I think emerging as one of the more underrated talents in the NFL. And this isn't something we saw from Noah last year. Remember, we thought Noah Gray was going to elevate last year, and he didn't quite get there. He did this year. That happens a lot with guys. You think they're going to have a breakout season, they don't quite get it, and then the next year, they have their breakout season. That's Noah Gray right now, having a breakout season for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll tell you what, if Noah Gray keeps having this incredible breakout season, the Chiefs come playoff time, if you have two tight ends who are Pro Bowl worthy, like Travis Kelce and Noah Gray, you're going to be really tough to stop, man. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that play, or that version of the Chiefs, because Noah Gray has now emerged, in my mind, as a legitimate player and a legitimate star. So, Noah Gray coming on could be key in the playoffs. Now, the Chiefs, they do have an unsung hero, and I bet you're going to be shocked at who I say this unsung hero is, but it's true. We'll get to that in a few minutes. First, one big area where the Kansas City Chiefs are struggling, the secondary. Who knew Jalen Watson was the only thing holding this entire defense together? I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Jalen Watson went down, and now the secondary, when you lose Jalen Watson, it is a tough look. Najee Johnson's having a really hard time coming along as a number 2 cornerback, and then it kind of goes downhill from there, right? Like, Najee Johnson as a third corner, pretty good cornerback. As a second corner, not good. We've seen it. How do you fix it? I think the Chiefs will probably just allow Najee Johnson to try to figure this thing out for his own. And that's okay. But in the meantime, we're seeing a secondary that's getting torched. I mean, these guys are getting torched. Bryce Young carved the Chiefs today. There's no other way for me to put it. Bryce Young carved the Chiefs today. And part of that is because Bryce Young is emerging as a star quarterback, which he 100% will be in this league. He had a bad rookie year and a bad start to his second year on a team that was giving him nothing. Oh, how shocking. How could anyone have foreseen that happening for a first overall pick going to a team with nothing? He's emerging as a star, so you have to give Bryce Young a lot of credit. But you also have to look at this Chiefs secondary and say, hey, guys, what are we doing? Because it's not working. They're getting beat a lot, and the Chiefs have got to elevate in the secondary. They have got to get better, and I don't know who makes it better. I think Chamari Connor has come along as a really nice player. I think Najee Johnson's been a disappointment. And Justin Reed made a great hit today. My gosh, that hit he made on the 2-point conversion, beautiful. It wasn't a penalty. I don't buy that as a penalty. I didn't see helmet-to-helmet contact. I saw maybe some incidental contact, but that's ridiculous. He hit the target zone, he caused an incompletion, and they decided to call him for an unnecessary roughness penalty anyway? Come on, man. It's ridiculous. So it is hard to be a secondary when the referees hamstring you. I will give the Chiefs that for sure. But the way this secondary was playing with Jalen Watson versus the way this secondary is playing without Jalen Watson, it's like night and day. And I didn't know Jalen Watson had it like that. I didn't know Jalen Watson was that big of a deal on the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but apparently Jalen Watson was the glue holding the whole thing together. Because without him, the Chiefs are having a really hard time stopping anybody's passing attack. So they have to find a way to elevate these young corners to take over for the injured Jalen Watson and elevate to a higher level so the Chiefs can stop getting torched through the air. It's driving me crazy. And I think it's driving a lot of Chiefs fans crazy because this is not the defense that we have become accustomed to seeing under Steve Spagnuolo. We've become accustomed to seeing a defense that suffocates the other team on a weekly basis. But that's not what we have right now. This team is not suffocating offenses on a weekly basis right now. Last 2 weeks have been rough for this defense. We'll see what happens next week. I mean, that's the big thing. We got to wait and see what happens against the Raiders. That's it. Raiders are coming to Arrowhead, too. That'll be very interesting on Friday. Black Friday game. Now, the Chiefs... Oh, hold on. Before we move on, there's one man on the defense I have to give his flowers to. One player on the Chiefs defense that deserves his flowers. Mike Dana is playing like a dog today. He came on today. He got in the backfield. He made a sack. He was making tackles for loss. Mike Dana made some havoc in the backfield today, and that is a guy that the Chiefs could look to when it comes to elevating their pass rush. The Chiefs are bottom 5 in sacks on the season coming into this game. Very rough at the front line trying to get to the quarterback, and Mike Dana has been a very nice bright spot today. I love what we saw from Mike Dana. Give me more Mike Dana. I want more Mike. Get Mike Dana on the line. Give me him in the backfield. I love watching Mike Dana play football. He elevated today. I'm looking for that dog on defense. We saw flashes from Mike Dana today. Charles Omenihu should be back next week. Hopefully we see some of those flashes from Omenihu, or maybe Charles just takes over and takes that dog out of him right from the very beginning, and the Chiefs' defense changes drastically because of his return. I don't know, but I'm hopeful. Now, the Chiefs have one major problem we need to address, and I don't know if there's a fix for it. I just don't know, guys. But first, the Chiefs have one unsung hero. This might shock you, but the unsung hero for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game is Travis Kelce. Teams are keen on Travis Kelce, and that's allowing Noah Gray to eat. It's allowing other guys to get wide open. I mean, on the first touchdown to Noah Gray, there was nobody within 20 yards of him. So while teams continue to key on Travis Kelce, other guys are getting opportunities, and they're seizing those opportunities. So a lot of credit has to be given to the unsung hero, Travis Kelce. He is an unsung hero on this offense. He makes every other team focus on him while other players eat. Noah Gray is elevating because other teams are focusing so much on Travis Kelce. He looks a little tired of it. I'll just be honest. Travis Kelce out there, his body language, he looks a little tired. Maybe he needs a spa day. I'm not entirely sure. But Travis has got to lock in. He's doing great as far as decoy goes, and he's putting up good numbers. But I think if you'll watch him, if you're watching Travis on the field, you got to wonder sometimes, is he all right? Like, is he hurting? Like, what's going on with Travis Kelce? Right now, I don't know. Because if he was hurting, he clearly wouldn't tell us. You're not going to tell other teams that you're coming in a little bit hurt. So teams are still keen on Travis Kelce. And other guys are eating as a result. You have to give credit to that. I mean, Mahomes threw 6 touchdowns the last 2 games. None of them were to Travis Kelce. And that's okay. You know, seriously, that's okay. Because Travis is working great as a decoy. But I want to see Travis elevate, man. He has it in him. We know he has it in him. I don't know why we saw the drops today. I'm not entirely sure where they came from, but they were frustrating. Or frustrating drops. But I'll tell you, still, even with all those issues, right? Defense keys on Travis Kelce. Now to what do we have? We have Noah Gray streaking all by himself. We have DeAndre Hopkins in one-on-one coverage. So what Travis Kelce does that he doesn't get enough credit for is pulling the focus of the defense. And even with that, 6 receptions for 62 yards against the Carolina Panthers, leading in receptions for the Chiefs, almost leading in yards for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, even with the defense keen on him, he's still putting up numbers. He's still putting up solid performances. He's still a Pro Bowl level tight end, and nobody is going to talk me off of that level. Nobody is. I see some of the body language stuff. I see some of the issues. He dropped a couple today. Well, he had one drop, and he had one that was technically a pass interference, but it didn't look like he fought that hard for the ball. And that's what worries me a little bit. But on the drop, he thought Patrick wasn't going to throw it to him. Where's the dog, Travis? You always thought, you're always open, dog. What the hell is that? Travis, you're always open. Always. And you deserve the ball, and you deserve to truck everybody in your path. What are you doing? Damn, man. Like, I'm sorry, but that just frustrates me sometimes. It's like, dude, as well as Travis Kelce's playing, and I want to give him all the credit in the world, there are certain moments where he doesn't look locked in. And I think everybody sees it, right? I can't be the only person who sees that. So, I don't know. I hope he gets locked in. I'll give him some smelling salts or something. He's got to flip that switch, baby. Flip that switch and get that fire in you. Because I don't know if we saw that fire from Travis Kelce today. It looked like he didn't want to be there a lot of the time. And that does concern me. But defenses are keen on him. Noah Gray's eating as a result, so he is an unsung hero. I know that felt a little weird, right? I was like in between. But that's the reality of Travis Kelce right now. It's not all criticism. It's not all praise. He's right in the middle. He's right in the middle. Some criticism, some praise. I'm not an all or nothing guy. It's like sometimes I think people get so negative on a guy like Travis Kelce, but his expectations are through the roof. So you got to cut him some slack. But at the same time, I think some criticisms are warranted. Now, we have amazing news for the Chiefs this morning. You'll hear it coming up. Amazing news for the Kansas City Chiefs this morning. But first, the Chiefs have one major problem that we have to address. They have to, and I'm not sure there's a fix for it. The offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs is like Swiss cheese. People are just running through it. Patrick Mahomes is running for his life, sacked 5 times today against the Panthers, and frankly could have been sacked 12 times if it wasn't for how amazing Patrick Mahomes is at getting away from pressure. The Chiefs' offensive line is starting to get exposed, and it's a massive problem. These guys have got to protect the number one asset in the league. You have the best quarterback that's ever breathed air, and you can't get an offensive line to protect him? What are you doing? You have to get an offensive line that protects Patrick Mahomes. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we're doing here, because you have $500 million invested in this guy. He's the face of the NFL, yet you got left tackles you got a backup left tackle in there. You have an interior offensive line that's getting penalty after penalty. Creed Humphrey's missing blocks and allowing sacks. Jawan Taylor got like 3 penalties in a row today. The whole Chiefs offensive line is letting down Patrick Mahomes. Yet here's Patrick Mahomes with 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 270 yards passing, 60 yards rushing, and a dub. So Patrick Mahomes is elevating beyond what his awful offensive line is doing for him. I'm sorry, I'm pissed. You're going to let Mahomes get hit like that? 5 sacks? How's he going to make it to January? Having the best quarterback who's ever breathed air only matters if he's going to make it to the playoffs before he gets pummeled into submission. That's on the Kansas City Chiefs. You have to be better at offensive line. You can't be that leaky. You can't allow that kind of pass rush. The Panthers were getting it home with 4 rushers. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? That can't happen. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest asset in NFL history, and you're not going to protect your asset with a better offensive line? That's laughable. That's 2020 level offensive line play that we saw today, and that's laughable. It cannot happen for this team, and it can't happen for this organization. The Chiefs are one of the best organizations in football. You cannot have an offensive line be this bad when you have an organization that's this good. It's not acceptable. Now, how do you fix it? What's the fix? What's the solution? I don't know. We've talked about Donovan Smith. We've talked about a number of guys they could bring in. They brought in some. It doesn't look like there's anybody that has starting potential that's actually being brought in by the Kansas City Chiefs. And that worries me because they played like trash today. The offensive line played like trash today. I'm very positive. I like to put positivity on a lot of things because I enjoy positivity. But there is no way around how porous the Chiefs' offensive line was today. And frankly, I'm infuriated by how bad they were. You can't let Patrick get sacked that many times. You can't let him get hit that often. You can't have him running for his life. DeAndre Hopkins was open forever on that touchdown throw, but Patrick couldn't find him because he was too busy trying to not die. The offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs has become laughable, and until that gets fixed, I have a really hard time seeing a three-peat, guys. I really do. I have a hard time, but I think it can. But right now, like if you're telling me this Chiefs offensive line is going to play the way they played against the Carolina Panthers, how are you even going to get to the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes has to be alive for you to get to the Super Bowl. And with this Chiefs offensive line, I don't know how long that's going to last. The guy's running for his life every game. It happened against the Bills. It happened against the Panthers. I don't see a reason why Max Crosby and the Raiders aren't going to do the same thing. This offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs has got to get better, or it's going to be a really, really tough stretch. And Patrick Mahomes has put on the Superman cape over and over and over again, but he shouldn't have to do it as often as he does. We're going to finish this with a positive report, a very positive report. Amazing news for the Kansas City Chiefs this morning. Here it is right now.
Reinforcements, well, they're on the way to Kansas City. Expect running back Isaiah Pacheco back on Black Friday against the Raiders. Pass rusher Charles Omenihu should make his debut then too. And there's a possibility that we see Hollywood Brown back on the field this season as early as Christmas, JB.
Hollywood Brown could be back by Christmas? Oh, baby, you gotta love to hear that, because Hollywood Brown coming back by Christmas, it means a few things. One, it means he can develop a rapport with Patrick Mahomes over the last few games of the season, and we don't have to try to hit the ground running come playoff time. Two, it means he can get his legs underneath him, get back into game speed. So this is all about January, guys. We don't care about winning in Christmas. We don't care about all that stuff. We care about the Chiefs being ready and being rested and being healthy by playoff time. And a big part of that is going to be Hollywood Brown getting healthy by Christmas. That is a massive, massive deal for the Kansas City Chiefs, because Hollywood Brown, with his speed and his explosive ability, he brings a whole different element to this team. And if you have him on one side and DeAndre Hopkins on the other side, with Xavier Worthy in the slot, Travis Kelce at tight end, and Juju Smith-Schuster as your fourth wide receiver, you are stacked. If you get an offensive line to protect Patrick Mahomes, you become unstoppable. But right now, that's not the case. So we have to hope that Hollywood Brown comes back by Christmas and the Chiefs get their offensive line figured out, because if both of those things happen, this Chiefs offense is going to be racking up points like crazy, man. It's going to look like a video game when they get all those guys healthy and they get the offensive line in order. And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do in January and February to run roughshod over the NFL.
Score, baby! Hey, attitude game. Everything you got, every single snap, over and over again. Flying around making plays, find a way to get a win. Playmakers on 3, 1, 2, 3.
I can't wait to see it. Welcome back soon, Hollywood Brown. We love to have you. Isaiah Pacheco, Charles Omenihu coming back for the game on Friday against the Raiders. The Chiefs are going to look fantastic, and I couldn't be more excited. The Kansas City Chiefs win today 30-27 over the Carolina Panthers in a game that a lot of people are going to discount, but you shouldn't, because there were so many bright spots and the Panthers played amazing football. I love this team. I love this game. I don't think we're going to get to have a midweek blitz this week just because of the holiday and the fact the Chiefs play on Friday. We might get one on Tuesday. It's a maybe. If that happens, that'll be great. If not, I'm sorry. But if we have a midweek blitz, it'll probably be because something happened. It'll be short, and it'll be like just a quick coverage of the news. But if we don't, I will see you on Friday. On Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving, as the Chiefs take on the Las Vegas Raiders. And my God, I can't wait for it. Hey, thank you so much for joining me here. Thank you for having fun with me. The Kansas City Chiefs, 10-1, remaining the number 1 seed in the AFC. This has been Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your week with me. Happy Thanksgiving.